I'm going to teach you exactly how I visualize systems, and I'm going to show you how a founder really needs to understand this to implement systems and growth into their business. I'm going to use a very simple example in this video, and it's one that I actually just went through. My team needed to hire a new salesperson, but we already have a fairly large team. We have 10 full-time account executives who take sales calls every single day. So I sat down with my management and with my team and I said, hey, do we really need a new team member or do we need to look at the process? And so what we did was we analyzed the process and we asked everyone exactly where they were spending their time. And so what we learned was the biggest constraint was for them to produce enterprise level proposals. So these are custom proposals with a little bit of strategy and detail in them. But on average, my team was doing between 1 and 2 a day. And the problem is these strategy plans are very, very detailed. And so it was take them 2+ hours per proposal to complete that. So every time they had to do an enterprise proposal, they lost 4 30-minute sales calls. So by implementing this process, I got back 4 sales calls a day per sales rep with 10 sales reps. That's a capacity of 40 new calls a day versus what I was going to get by hiring one new salesperson was only about 5. So I drastically increased my capacity with already trained people. So I didn't have to worry about onboarding, training, or ramping up. So I'm going to show you exactly how we did this. Now, the first thing we do is we go and talk to our team. We have a cross-functional meeting. We understand what they're doing, where their time's going. A lot of times your team will already know the constraint in their business. So they'll know, hey, Scott, I'm spending this much time on non-value added. For us, value added is make a sale, do follow-ups, really use what they're good at, what their passion is. And so they already knew. If your team doesn't know, the next thing you want to do is say, okay, everyone on the team, for the next week, I want you to log your time. And this isn't to punish them. It's to understand where they're spending their time. So you want to do a time study. Now, I forgot to mention, my name's Scott Bartnick. I've been teaching systems for over 10 years. I've worked at Fortune 500 companies. I have 2 Inc. 5000 awards and a plethora of others. And in the last few years, I've done over $30 million on online marketing and sales. So back into the systems. Hopefully now you know why you want to pay attention. Basically, they do that time study and you can use it anytime. It can be a notepad. It can be anything. Once you get that, really all you need to know is what were they doing? How long did they do it? And that's really it. You can take notes and throw them in ChatGPT. You can do whatever you want with that time study to analyze it after. But for us, the trend was really simple. They were spending too much time on proposals. We had already kind of had an optimized situation with proposals where they were already quicker than they used to be, but we need to speed it up more. So I'm going to show you the original way when we started a few years ago, and then now our current process. And what we're going to do is walk through this step by step. So I mentioned time study. That if you don't know the process, you either, as an engineer, when I worked in manufacturing facilities, I would literally just go watch people do that process. So as like a continuous improvement person, I'm going to go watch them, or I'm going to have my team write down every single step they do. So once we identify the constraint, what's slowing them down, then we need to determine what the steps are in that constraint. So have them write down every single thing you do and have everyone on your team do it, because people are going to forget and not be clear. And then again, you can throw it into an AI tool and say, hey, build me the entire process that my team is currently doing. Make sure to tell it not to add anything, so that way it's actually getting your process. Now, you can also shadow and get that as well. But I'm going to go through the old school process of all the manual steps and then how we systematize this so that our proposals take a significantly less time, but you have to do it by understanding your base state first. So the first thing they did was, before they ever got on a call, they would do pre-call research. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with the proposal process, but it was something that was, if done properly, at least 15 minutes, if not more. So they do pre-call research, then they take their sales call. We're obviously not getting rid of sales calls, but they get off their sales call. Then the next step in here is going to be capture call notes. So they write down all their notes, highlights, things like that, especially if they weren't able to get to their post-call notes right away or to get to the proposal or their follow-up right away because they maybe had a back-to-back call. So they need to jot down their notes properly. Now they need to send a quick follow-up email, basically thanking someone, telling them, hey, thanks so much, excited to work with you. Based on where we are, I think you're going to be a better fit for enterprise service. I want to build out a custom proposal for you. Just to let you know, I'll get you that by end of day or by tomorrow, depending on how busy they were. Sometimes my team was a few days behind on that, which for speed to lead, not sending this follow-up email and then not sending a proposal soon after, you're pretty much just giving away the sale. Now, if they have time, they're going to go ahead and open the proposal system, which for us, we were using Go Prospero, which is a pretty good tool to where you can generate proposals. You can also do this in Go High Level if you're using that CRM, and there's hundreds of other proposal tools, Gamma. So they'd open the system that we're currently using. They'd enter notes manually. So they would start, again, writing down their notes. They would start looking at the proposal. They'd start outlining each section. And then for us, even at Bay State, we had templates, but they had to go into the template and start filling things out and do the executive summary, build out the milestones, the goal of the campaign. But then on top of that, they did a little pre-call research, but they want to go a little bit deeper. They want to do, because this is now enterprise. So for us, enterprise can be upwards of $500,000 lifetime value, if not more. So they're going to do some company research. They're going to then do manual LinkedIn review of the actual individual. And again, a lot of this was done earlier, but they're going deeper now because they're building out that proposal. And they want to make sure they're pulling in relevant information to that lead. So it's really reading as if we did our job. And then they're going to do Google the company, find out if there is press, find out if they have new pitch angles, anything upcoming. Did they just do a release? Did they do a new product release and not cover it in the news? Things like that. Then now modern day, they would probably take all their notes and start working with AI to build, summarize, make their copy more concise, whatever they need to do. They're going to build out each section, which for us is an executive summary. We have timelines, we have budget, we have strategy, we have pitch angles, we have placement ideas. There's a lot that goes into an enterprise level proposal. And even for me using all the tools, it would still take a few hours to really build this custom proposal. So as you can see, we're still going. Then they have to physically write and populate the proposal, maybe add in a few fresh images. Then in the system, no matter what system you're using, we'd have to then publish the proposal. So they just make it live. Then they would grab the actual link to that proposal. Then they'd go back to their inbox, write an email. Now they'd have to have it probably some sort of template, but then they'd personalize it with stuff from the call, from the research to make them really understand that we're doing our due diligence here. Then they would have to obviously send the email and then add their notes to the CRM. Now, on an average for a fast proposal, this was 2 hours. Now, my team typically does sales calls in 30 minutes. So that's 4 sales calls a day lost if they only do one proposal. And a lot of times they had to do more proposals. So what was happening is sometimes they were doing it after work, they were doing it off hours, they were trying to start it and then get interrupted, and then it wasn't as good because they had to get on another call. So this is baseline. This is what we have to fix. This is understanding how to visualize the system. So now we can visualize, and I can't zoom out because then you'll see the final state, but I guess I'll go ahead. So you can see, let's see if I can it's big. And those are all manual steps. So now what we want to do is basically start visualizing what that future state looks like. What do we want this to actually become? How can we save time? Because there's no reason a proposal needs to take that long, or pre-call research needs to take even 15 minutes now, because again, we're spacing out how far we can take these calls. So let's go to future state, and we'll then stick around and I'll show you what we actually did, because this isn't hypothetical. With AI and with systems, it's never been easier to do automation, workflows, research. So what we do is we have an automated process that researches the lead. Now, here's the thing. It was taking them maybe 15 to 20 minutes to do the research ahead of time. Now it's instant. It's in their inbox 30 minutes before their call. But on top of that, it's significantly better. So let me pull up our system. So basically what we did is we have a hub. We call it AutoPR Hub. And it has a whole bunch of apps that we're building out. And they're all integrated under our security. And they have our tools and everything in here, but we have our proposal system. Now, in this proposal system, we have the pre-call email. So I just want to show you all the steps that this pre-call email goes through before it even sends it. So it does Go High Level, which is our CRM. It does research in our CRM. So it checks contact notes, records, emails, messages, fields, tags, opportunities, appointment history. It checks everything. It reads all of this. So that's just Go High Level. So it just went to 9 places instantly and grabbed all of the records. Then it does company name validation. So for us, a lot of times someone's email won't match their business name, or it'll be a startup with not a lot of history. So we want to validate that it's legitimate, it's real. And then we use Apollo, and we can use any tool here to do more company research, specifically works with enterprise. Smaller businesses, SMB, don't always have information in there. Then we do outbound with a couple tools, instantly email Bison. We use Fathom for call recordings. So if it had any history in any of those places, it's going to pull this in. So we're getting the buyer journey now. So they're learning, where did they come from? Who did they engage with? Did they talk to our BDR team? Did they get an offer somewhere? Did they get an email from our CRM? Did they come in? Whatever. Then we're doing, basically, these are Google searches. We're Google searching the company. We're Google searching if they've been in the news. We're Google searching the lead. Then we're doing a website lookup. We're learning about their website, their services, their offering, their product, their announcements. Then we're summarizing their internal history, and then we're checking all of the documentation and making sure there's no conflicts. So sometimes it'll Google the wrong company, whereas there may be two, like the business this is for is Otter Public Relations. So maybe there's two Otter Public Relations companies. This will determine if we got the right company. Now, I want to pause and say, if you're interested in building systems, in scaling, potentially just improving margins, check out the Founder Systems AI. I'm currently taking on 2 mentors where I will be working one-on-one, kind of as a board of advisor, and I'll help you build out systems for a very limited time. I have 2 openings, and I'm personally taking the intro calls where I can help audit your systems. I will not be doing this for a long time. So I'm just, again, taking on 2 people. And right now, if you want to book a call directly with me, again, this is not really a free strategy. This is if you're interested in working directly with me for ongoing support. So let's jump right back in. So we've done all that research. Then it's going to summarize it and build out a proper email. So literally is building out the lead snapshot, the company snapshot, pain points, journey through our company. It's doing case study matching for us. And then it continues to do more things, what to watch out for, spotlight, openers, the play, basically an angle. And then what it does is go ahead and send an email. Now, I can't show you one of these emails just because they're confidential. These are leads coming in. This is a real system, but they're really, really robust, and they have amazing detail that's specifically targeted towards our salesperson to help them not have to do that pre-call research and basically sell better. So let's go back into here. So all of that was step 1, and that just shows up in their inbox. With that is also a link to create their proposal. So they get that ahead of time, so that as soon as they get off the call, they can start generating their proposal if they want. Now, this is automatic. So the round ones are going to be automatic. Before, you notice before everything was square, which means manual. Now, in this manual step, they're going to continue to do the sales call like normal. That is something that we will probably never get away with because, of course, we want our team to do sales calls. So we have 1 automatic step, 1 manual step, and then call transcripts. Before, they were taking notes manually. There are so many call recording systems now. There's no reason not to have one. We just switched to Fathom, which is just a call recorder. The only reason why we switched from what we were using before is Fathom had a little bit more of a useful API, which just means we could connect our tools to that a lot easier. We connect that. Now, once they're done, if it's a good call, they're qualified, they can click on the email, and this is a manual step. They're clicking a button on the email saying create proposal. Now, what it'll do is pull up a form that's pre-populated. In our system, we have this form, basic information. This also auto pulls from our CRM. So if I start typing a name, and again, for confidentiality reasons, I'm not going to type anyone's name in here because these are our real leads, but it will auto fill out everything in here except for the price, the investment, the service, and then the call transcript auto pulls from Fathom based on the email, the name, the phone number, or the company. So it's matching it. So if they click it in the email, it's all filled out, including the sales call. All they have to do is fill out one thing and then click generate. Now they've done that step. And then we're going to go, basically, system reads the transcripts. It reads all the research it did before, and then it does additional research. So again, pulls research, AI generates proposal, and then review and edit. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. Same thing here, so you can visualize the system. This kind of works like Zapier would work, but we built this ourselves. So we're going to come into our template here, and then it does a little bit more research. So in here, we're going to see different phases where it's doing more company research. It's finding raw research. It's summarizing it. Same thing with the lead. Again, the website again. So we're just updating because at this point, the team's confirmed the information. So now we know it's right. We don't have to validate it. And so it's just double checking that we got the right information and it's getting more rich information. And then it's building out different sections of that proposal. So we have a bunch of variables here, but it's basically, again, double checking the case study match, but now it's doing it off of the call as well. So it has more information. We're getting our executive summary, our milestones, our strategy, the investment, our follow-up email. It goes a little bit deeper into case studies, and then we actually have a specific video match for our case studies. And so that generates the proposal. So it will continue to go here. Now the team reviews it. So let's see if there's one I can share. This is also a slightly older template, but basically they're getting a proposal that kind of looks like this, pre-filled out. And then the team can go in and just quickly edit things. So it has all of our sections in here. It has our outlines, our strategy. It really is detailed. I don't want to share too much of our proposals, but I just want you to get an idea. So I'm going to kind of stop there for confidentiality reasons and how we actually do things. But then this is a live one. So the team actually has an option to jump to a specific section because they are enterprise, so they're fairly long. And then they can actually sign and accept. This is just a test email as well. And so that's what it looks like. But then on top of that, in here, we can send our follow-up instantly. So we're able to then send that follow-up and get information as fast as possible. And then these are all our ideal templates. They're customized. This isn't the most up-to-date one. So if you're trying to copy, I mean, go for it. But we can regenerate. So there's a lot of things here, but the proposal link, but you notice how many steps we just cut out. So let's go back into our steps. So they've now gone ahead and reviewed the proposal. They hit send. Proposal is automatically delivered. So edit is manual, then hitting send is manual, but it's basically a button like you saw. Proposal is delivered automatically. And then the best part is our CRM notes are also automatically inputted as soon as they completed that form. It links to the proposal, it links to the calls, it pre-fills out everything for them. So they don't have to do any of that. And then basically what took over 2 hours is now down to 15 minutes and regaining them, depending on how you look at it, 3 to 4 sales calls a day, especially if they decide to do this 15 minutes after hours so they can maximize their sales calls. That's up to them. But either way, you're getting at least 3 calls back a day minimum per salesperson. So I used 4 before. So it's really like maybe we're talking 30 sales calls instead of the 40 that I said. Now, this process works the same way everywhere. We want to learn how to visualize systems in our business. So again, we thought about it. So let's go backwards real quick and summarize this so you have something tangible to take away. So the first thing we want to do is find an area that is constraints. And that's just an area that you either need to hire, you're not making enough money, it's taking too much time, you just don't want to do it. So that's going to be your constraint. That's the busy part in your business. Now, again, you can do a time study to find that, or a lot of times you just know. Metrics and things like that from your CRM can help you determine what that constraint is, or you can work directly with me and I'll help analyze and find your constraints for you. Then what we're going to do is ideally either do a time study or just step through that entire process, work with our team, outline the entire process. And then what we want to start doing is analyzing where we can fix it. Now, an example of really going deep into this is that form that I showed you on how to generate a proposal. Even having that form is nice because before they were manually putting it in a whole bunch of places and filling things out. But what we did was we, like I said, auto synced it with our CRM and with our call recording system. So instead of them having to fill out 8 fields, click around, have multiple tools open, they were able to just click one button. All they needed was the person's name, company name, or email. That and the whole form is filled out and they can go. And then it pulls in all of their notes automatically. So that form before, which was actually our previous state is we already had a form, the form alone was taking 10 minutes because they had to have multiple tools open. They had to link to their proposal. They also had to do a post-call form. So every little click that you're saving them, you might think it's only a few seconds, but if they had to go to a different software to grab information, they had to go to their calendar, it's interruptions in their day that are unnecessary and not adding value. So everything we can do to speed that up gives you better results to a certain point. You can over process and over perform and over optimize. But in this case, even that form was taking a few minutes. So we're saving them a significant amount of time. Now, if you like videos like this and you really want to learn how to systemize your business, go ahead and grab an appointment with me. Again, it is paid. It is not a free service. Get on my call just to say hi. And then if you aren't quite ready, I do have some freebies and templates down below on how to systemize your business and structure systems just like this. I actually have over 40, and a lot of the tools I work with and referral links are just right down below. Thank you.